Oh, thank you. I think looking at where we are as a country,
Yes.
particularly looking at the boda sector, we've come a long way, I would say.
Yes.
But again, as we have come a long way, the numbers have increased, particularly now the riders joining that sector are on the rise every other day. And that has not been commensurate with perhaps now the enforcement of the laws.
No, sir.
It has taken us a bit of some time. Because if you look at the statistics from the 2000s, at that time, during the Kibaki government, the late Excellency Kibaki, we had very few bikes then. Actually, we were registering close to about 6,000 only in the country. But come during that time of His Excellency Kibaki's time, then there was that wave on taxes to import these bikes. That's when the numbers just went like, so high. As it is now, we're about 2.3 million, registered. So that tells that the number has actually been increasing. That means also that the people joining that industry are really, high.
Yes.
Now, our regulations came into being in 2015. That's almost 3 years after NTSA has come into place. So that means then you have to operationalize this law. You have to keep now, looking at it, educating these guys and all that. But when you look at that period before the law, so much had happened. I always compare it with a child who has been smoking bang for like 10 years. Now you want to,
and you want to get them out.
Just change him, like that. It takes time.
Yeah,
it takes time. But there's hope because now, looking at the way we have implemented that law, it's very structured. We began not with enforcement per se, but we said, look, how do we make sure that this child who has been doing all this wrong all this while, how do we make this child to really understand that this works for him, which is a behavior kind of thing. It takes a bit of time. So we've been there and we've been pushing them into trainings because that is the only place that they can actually get this information from. Information on where to drive, where to ride, information on use of helmets, information of my carrying capacity and all that. It's only through training. The challenge we had was the kind of schools then, the driving schools which were there, were not accommodating this group of people. A little bit biased to just the drivers who drive vehicles. So you could go to a school and say, I want to enroll for this class. Not many schools were comfortable to pick these guys on. So that again was a big gap. So what we did was said, for us to address this gap, then we need to license fuel rider schools and also encourage these other schools to introduce those classes. And actually, hence, we came up with a new curriculum that would accommodate now that class and make it also business for this driving school. Because then they were not seeing the sense of, training. These guys would say, let them go. So we've had really, I would say it's been a journey, if you look at it. But over time now we've structured it. The trainings are now very structured. There are schools now offering that class, which is now class A. And the new curriculum now it's well defined. Because then it was under class, FG, which was not very clear even that time. But we've structured it now. You go to school, you actually go for that class A2, A3 for the tuk-tuk guys. So it's a bit more structured. And schools now are accepting them, over time. Of course, we have also had other spirited campaigns around just pushing these guys into going to train. Not so long ago, we began a nationwide campaign. These guys will actually go to NYS and get some training. So we'll actually go to where they are, because they're also difficult to come to school.
Does it?
So we said, okay, as government, we can't just sit here and wait. Let's go and get these guys where they are, because really they know how to ride, but how do we just make sure that they get the right trainings and all that? So a lot has really gone into making this sector really work and safely, so to speak. So I would say, yes, there's hope. As much as, that if you look at the incidences then related to the boda sector, they're really increasing.
Yes.
But I would say where we're heading to, the way we have structured the trainings, we are now putting them into circles, so that they're like the PSV guys, Matatus and all that. Very structured way of doing it. And through the circles now, you're introducing leadership as well. So through that leadership, you can actually tap into them and say, hey, look, let's do the right thing. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So over time, we are seeing that the future is
It's not really that far, isn't it?